Hi, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, we will continue where we left off last time and continue answering questions of the 29th介護福祉士国家試験 under the category 介護の基本. Let's go. Welcome back to NikkoVenture. In this question, we are to select the statement that best describes rehabilitation or rehabilitation. First, let's define rehabilitation in Japanese. According to the World Health Organization or in Japanese, 世界保健機関, rehabilitation は能力低下やその状態を改善し、障害者の社会的総合を達成するためのあらゆる手段を含んでいる. The purpose of rehabilitation is total human restoration, or in Japanese, zen 人間的復健. Choice number 5 states that rehabilitation is limited to caregiving facilities. Here in Japan, rehabilitation is offered not only in caregiving facilities but also in hospitals, at home or home-on rehabilitation, and in adult daycares or tsusho rehabilitation. Choice number 4 states that recreation or recreation and rehabilitation are two opposing concepts. We've already defined rehabilitation earlier, and again, the purpose of rehabilitation is zen 人間的復健 or total human restoration. Recreation is an activity done for enjoyment, and its purpose is 人間性の回復. Not exactly two opposing concepts, right? As a matter of fact, some rehabilitative sessions are done through recreational activities. Choice number 3 is the correct answer. Rehabilitation restores a person's honor and dignity. Once a person becomes disabled, that person's honor, pride, and dignity will also be disabled. Just imagine you've been using your legs all your life, then one day you woke up without your legs.
Oh, God. Ron, where's my legs? I don't even know how I'm standing up. No.
And you will need someone's help just to take a shit. That sort of thing really hits the pride, dignity, and honor of a person. Now, choice number 2 is incorrect as it claims that the goal of rehabilitation is to achieve physical independence without the use of fukushi yogu. Fukushi yogu are devices or equipment used to assist the elderly who needs care or rehabilitative services in their daily lives. Although achieving Although achieving shintai-teki jiritsu or physical independence is one of the goals of rehabilitation, more often than not, people who undergo rehabilitation use one or more fukushi yogu. Choice number 1 is also incorrect as it claims that rehabilitation begins after the disability is fixed in place. This means that you start rehabilitation once your disability or the disability you sustained is already permanent. Useless as fuck. Once you sustain disability, rehabilitation is of utmost importance to prevent that disability from becoming permanent or being fixed in place. In this question, we are to choose the correct action a caregiver should do for an elderly in an evacuation center during a disaster. Choice number 1 encourages bed rest during the day to prevent fatigue or exhaustion. Although it's very important to prevent fatigue and exhaustion among the elderly, spending more time lying in bed will eventually cause Hayoshokogun, or in English, disuse syndrome. I really hope I translated that correctly. Hayoshokogun is a condition that occurs to persons or happens to persons with sedentary lifestyles who doesn't use their bodies often as much that can lead to the deterioration of many body functions. If an elderly spends more time lying in bed even during the day, that elderly's body functions or muscle functions will eventually deteriorate, causing that elderly to become bedridden, or in Japanese, netakiri. Choice number 2 claims that you should consider the elderly people as a group or as a whole rather than as an individual so as not to disturb the harmony of the evacuation center. As mentioned by yours truly in one of my videos, whether you're taking care of 1 or 10 elderly, considering their individuality is still important to provide personalized and safe care service. In this case, even within an evacuation center, the elderly still have their individual needs. So we need to focus on their individuality, or we need to focus on them as individuals, not as a group. Fuck the harmony of the evacuation center. We don't care about that. Choice number 3 encourages the use of wheelchairs even for those elderly who walk with a cane. To ask an elderly who can still walk with a cane to use a wheelchair is a very inappropriate thing to do as a caregiver, as it leads to decreased muscle function on the legs of that elderly. Basically, if an elderly can walk, as long as it is safe for that elderly, let that elderly walk. Just because you're inside an evacuation center doesn't mean everyone should use wheelchair. No, it's still in a case-to-case basis. Choice number 4 advises that since securing enough restrooms inside an evacuation center is difficult, the elderly is to reduce their fluid intake.
すみません。おしっこしたいんですけど、トイレ空いてないんですから、待ってください。お水も飲まないでください。
That is basically what this choice means. Reducing the fluid intake of an elderly just because there's not enough restrooms inside an evacuation center will definitely or eventually cause dehydration, or in Japanese, datsuisho. Choice number 5 is the correct answer. Most elderly in an evacuation center may stay in the same place for long periods with limited leg movement, which can lead to DVT or deep vein thrombosis, or in Japanese, Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho. Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho is a blood clot that develops within the deep vein in the body, usually the leg. Symptoms include pain, swelling, and redness in the affected area. However, the blood clot of Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho has a huge potential to travel to other parts of the human body, and that includes the heart. And once the blood clot ends up inside our hearts, Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho will become life-threatening. As such, light exercises, especially in the legs, and stretching, especially in the legs, should be encouraged among the elderly inside an evacuation center to prevent Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho. As you can see here, Shinbu Jomyaku Kessensho is sometimes called Economy Kurasu Shokogun, or Economy Class Syndrome, which refers to economy class airplanes which are notorious for having little leg room. In this question, we are to select the statement that best describes the prevention of lower back pain among caregivers. So yeah, once you work as a care worker here in Japan, you can accumulate a lot of these 2 things, and it does include money. No, that's a myth. 1 is experience, both good and bad. 2 is body pain, especially lower back pain. That I can guarantee 100%. Choice number 1 claims that our posture during work should be based on the middle back. This is wrong, since basing our posture on our mid-back would cause pressure to our lower back, causing lower back pain. As such, we should fully utilize body mechanics to achieve correct posture while working. Choice number 2 states that regular checkups for lower back pain are done once a year, every year. Caregivers here in Japan are advised to undergo back pain physical examinations twice a year, or once every 6 months. Choice number 3 states that all employees wear corsets during work hours. Corsets should only be worn as needed and should follow a physician's advice. If there's no need for you to wear a corset, you don't need to wear one just because everyone at work is wearing it. Choice number 4 is the correct answer. Seiteki stretchingu, or static stretching, is effective. Seiteki stretchingu involves stretching a muscle to near its furthest point and then holding that position for at least 15 to 20 seconds. Seiteki stretching or static stretching is very effective among care workers here in Japan because it is said to be less stressful on our muscles. However, I say to you now, once you work here as a care worker, there is no amount of good body mechanics, good body posture, or even good static or dynamic stretching will be enough to relieve yourself of that lower back pain. As long as you're working as a care worker in this country, your back pain will always be there. It's like a badge of identification that you're a care worker here in Japan, a painful badge. Why, you say? It's because of choice number 5, which states that assisting an elderly resident's ijo and ido is done by carrying that resident. Obviously, this choice is wrong. Aside from the fact that we've already established that choice number 4 is the correct answer, carrying a resident will cause lower back pain. But what makes this choice noteworthy is that despite the fact that carrying an elderly resident is wrong since it will increase the load on your lower back, causing more pain, many, and I mean many, caregiving facilities here in Japan are still relying on their caregivers to carry their elderly residents either from a wheelchair to the bed, vice versa, or from the bed to a stretcher, vice versa. For those of you who are planning to work as a care worker here in Japan, don't be fooled by all of this. Although there are facilities here that already using simple machines like those that I just showed you, many or most of the elderly facilities here in Japan doesn't use machines, simple or complex. Why? Machines are expensive to buy, maintain, and replace. People, on the other hand, you and me, are not. So yeah, that's one of the many truths about working here in Japan as a caregiver. And those were some of the questions of the介護福祉士国家試験 under the category 介護の基本. In the next video, we will have a short break about 介護福祉士国家試験. Next time, we will talk about me. If you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe and click that bell icon. This icon. As always, if you've learned something new today, please do leave a like, comment, and of course, share this video with an interested friend. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for your time watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.